What up, Real Fans Podcast? Back at it again this week, episode 108. I'm here. I'm your host, Gabe. That's Julian right here. Say what's up to the people, Julian.
What's up, people? What's up, people?
I see you. Did you get another retro? You went to the... I see you got another retro hat on.
No, I got this a while ago. So this is when I actually went to Montreal. I went up there and I'm like, you know what? I got to get some Expo gear. Montreal Expo gear. So I went... got a hat. I'm looking at a couple jerseys because I love the old school Montreal Expo jerseys. It's just like the whole color aesthetic and style. So I'm looking at getting some of those, but they could be quite pricey. But we'll see. Beautiful city. I highly recommend anybody. It's a very underrated city that people don't talk about, but I highly recommend. It's like going to Europe without actually going to Europe. Honestly,
yeah. Quebec.
Like,
they have like they're supposed to be like the French separatists. They want to be separate from all of Canada or something. I don't know.
That's a long story. That's kind of changed in and out. But yeah, I mean, they've tried to do a lot to like preserve their culture and their language and stuff from being consumed by English countries and territories or whatever. And then, throughout the history, they want to separate it. It's like a long thing. But I always highly recommend people to check it out because like between Montreal and then like Quebec City, those are like beautiful cities and they're very, very historic, older than, well, not as old as St. Augustine, but like if you guys have been to St. Augustine, imagine that. But like instead of that one little section of it, it's a whole entire city that's like that. It's like literally like going to Europe and in Montreal. You go to old Montreal, it's like the streets of Paris, or Quebec City is like a small little French town. It's really cool. And the weird thing, honestly, about it is the fact that you go over there and people just like Montreal people speak both. It's kind of like Miami, South Florida, with English, Spanish. Well, not all the time, but in Montreal, it's because it's a bigger city. Most people speak both, but speak first in French and then English secondary.
Yeah.
In Quebec City, they just don't know English at all, which is very weird to me to see like a French. It's very odd because you forget about it because they're up there in the corner, but it's like there's a whole like millions of people in this North America that don't speak English and only speak French. You kind of forget about it. So I always recommend people, and it's not that expensive to go up there, especially in the Northeast. You could just drive across the border, no problem. Yeah. And it's like, but anyways. Were
you able to go visit the stadium, or what else were you, how long were you there for?
I saw the Olympic Stadium, the classic. I mean, I went almost a year now. I thought I told you about this game, but yeah, I guess not. But yeah, I saw the Olympic Park from the '86 Olympics in Montreal, Summer Olympics. So that was pretty cool to see. It's a very interesting big ass dome with a slanted tower. I think they're supposed to be doing renovations on it, and then I saw the MLS team. But yeah, that's all they got over there. And then I saw the arena for the Montreal Canadiens. But yeah.
Cool stuff. Speaking of cool, can we talk about, because we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. Obviously, we're entering round 2. We had big games last week. A lot of eliminations, a lot of teams going up, going down. Some surprises. I don't know. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs in general, Julian. I don't know if you have the bracket to pull up.
But some huge games right here.
I just want to take a look so we can get into our round 2 semifinals. Conference.
Yeah, everything's settled except one game. So what we're gonna do is obviously you still have the Cavs and Magic game 7 tomorrow. So we're going to predict that game, and then based off who we feel the winner is, go onto the Celtics matchup. But yeah, Gabe, I guess let's start with the Cavs Magic. It's been an awesome series going to game 7. I think we both. I'm not sure if you predicted game 7. I know I did. This is a very evenly, really good matchup. Both teams kind of on the rise, but not quite at that next level, that next step yet. Magic pull off a big win, stopping Donovan Mitchell's 50-point game, and still able to get the win. I'm going to go quickly here. So I think the Magic have been absolutely great defensively. They've only held the Cavs to over 100-point game one time this entire series, and they only scored 104. And each game, so far, both teams have won at home only. Like you said, series don't start until somebody wins away.
To the road team.
And I think the Magic are going to get it done. They've slowly tightened the gap more and more as the series has gone on away. And I think they actually get it done. I think they're more cohesive as a team working together. And I think defensively, they've been super stout. And as the series progresses, I feel like they're getting better and better. So I have them advancing.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think, there's been a lot of hate on the Orlando Magic. People are like, oh, this is on NBA TV. Nobody's watching this game. The series is cool. Man, listen, me living
on True TV
in Central Florida for a little bit, I was kind of rooting, the closest game I could get to was Orlando Magic. So I think this is a fun young team. They're on the rise. People are hating on them now, but you wait for a couple years, they're going to be exciting. But yeah, I have the Orlando Magic advancing. I don't think they're going to go deep. I think this is the end of their run, but I mean, pretty damn good to finally get into the playoffs and make it out the first round. I mean,
yeah, it's been a tough. It's been a tough drought in Orlando, man. Like I remember going in the 2009 run, going to a playoff game for the Eastern Conference Finals, and I felt like that was the last time they were really like. That has to probably be the last time they made it this far if they end up advancing. Obviously, you never know. But, yeah, I mean, great for the city to see them finally winning. It's always good. I feel like we're getting a couple of, like, new teams and kind of pushing out the old guard. This playoffs in general feels like just, like, a pushing out of all the old heads, the old guard, and now, like, this brand new era. I mean, we're going to go through these teams and we're going to talk about it. But, like, I mean, who would you say probably the oldest, like most well-known player?
I mean, it's going to be LeBron. I think I saw a stat that said like this is the first.
But he's out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the first playoff without LeBron, KD, and I forget what other player.
Russell
Westbrook
and Harden, probably.
Yeah, so I think this is obviously this is kind of like the changing of the time, right? We have we go in different eras of basketball, right? And we're getting towards the end of the LeBron era, and now it's the Wembys, it's the it's the Shane Alexander, it's the Ja Morant kind of. It's kind of like the turning of the guard. You know what I mean? The changing of the guard. These kind of
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards. His he's reaching his peak.
Yeah. I love, too, that not only we're getting new teams and new players and everything, but we're also getting out of, like, that big three era and, like, trying to get the biggest superstar. It seems like the teams that are winning now are teams that are kind of built up and are good collectively, and it seems like we're kind of going back to that way it was before versus, like, the entire 2010s was all about putting together a big three. We got to get a big three. We got to get a big three. We got to get superstars. I mean, outside of the Clippers, like out of these 8 teams left, how many are like? I mean, okay, you got Luka, but is there a big three? You would say? I mean, a big two with Luka, Kyrie, and like, do you want to say Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic?
Yeah, I would say the Nuggets are probably the most dominant team. I think, like I said, I've been saying we're in the Nuggets era right now. They're the hottest, I think, dynasty going for the next couple of years. This year, next year, I think they're going to be dominating. Obviously, heavy favorites coming in. But yeah, because as a collective,
the lineup.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
All right, so let's go down the lineup. So let's say, okay, we both got the Magic winning. I think even if the Cavs were to win, I still have the Celtics advancing here. I think they're just too good as a whole. I mean, they've been here, done that. I think this is going to be the year that they actually make it to the finals and potentially win it. So I have them advancing. I think just defensively and offensively, they just have more firepower than either the Magics or the Cavs. We saw that against the Heat. Obviously, the Heat was a beaten-up team, missing some players. Obviously, they're big players, but no matter what, I think the Celtics were getting through, especially with the home court advantage. I got the Celtics here.
Yeah, I think regardless of who goes forward, I think the Celtics are easy. Even though they're reporting Kristaps Porzingis is out for this series, and we'll see what the future is if he makes it to Eastern Conference Finals, but he's out for now. But I think they'll easily win. They've been beating teams over the head all year. Beat the Miami Heat, 20 plus whatever. So yeah, I got the Celtics coming out of this round.
I will say for the Magic, I feel like the Magic are the best team stylistically to give the Celtics a run for money, more so than the Cavaliers. I think the way they play defensively can give the Celtics some trouble. So because of that, I think the Celtics in 6. I think the Magic can take 2 at home.
I think the Magic should be happy if they get at least one game. I think this is a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
I think they for sure. I don't think it's a sweep. I think they for sure get one game. I know it's a stretch for Celtics in 6, but I just have a feeling the Magic can take 2 at home, or possibly steal one. But yeah, I guess if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna go Celtics in 5. Yeah. I think the Magic take 1 regardless. All right, let's go to the Pacers and Knicks. So I think this is where it gets kind of interesting. And as we go through this bracket, I think they all get pretty interesting. I think the most layup one is the Celtics advancing. But this one, so Pacers pull off the upset against the Bucks. I don't know if you want to briefly talk about this series or not. But for me, this was a shocker. I did not see this coming. I thought the Bucks, obviously without Giannis, was going to hurt them. But I still had them advancing regardless. I think we both had them advancing. I think with Damian Lillard, obviously Chris Middleton decided to step up in the series, which was a question mark going into the playoffs, but he did. And they still weren't able to. Yeah, and then throughout the series he got hurt, and Pacers came up big. I think the Pacers outperformed everybody's expectations. They played well. The way they passed that ball around the court was just something special. And what's his name? Siakam. Okay. I knew I was God damn. I'm so bad with names pronouncing. All right, Siakam. He turned it up. Obviously, he had a couple slow games, and that you're going to need him to turn it up throughout the entire series. You can't let him have a slow game against the Knicks, because the Knicks will dice you up. With the way Jalen Brunson's playing, he's playing out of his mind, averaging 35 points in this past series against the Sixers, a good Sixers team who actually pushed the Knicks to the limit, I would say. I think that series could have easily gone 6 games if you take away some questionable calls. But when you have a scrappy team like the Pacers and they're playing well as a unit, especially off the bench, their bench rotation has honestly saved them and helped them a lot throughout this series. Yeah, which I think gave them the edge over the Bucks. It gives me a hard time picking against them, because I think they're kind of set up to be kind of like a Cinderella team in a way, kind of pull off upsets with the way that team is built. And as long as they can remain consistent, I think they can. But with that being said, the Knicks and the way Brunson and Josh Hart are playing, they're just on a roll, and with the home court advantage. But this might be a hot take. I got the Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7? You mean the Knicks is the hot take, or the 7 games is the hot take?
I think the 7 games is the hot take. I think most people have the Knicks sooner, but I think the Pacers are really going to give the Knicks some trouble, especially on home court.
As far as the East,
I think the Knicks are the better team. Yeah,
this is a fun matchup to watch. Obviously, the Pacers upsetting the Bucks. I do think they're playing well. I mean, you're talking about hot teams. Hot teams right now. I think Pacers, played a tremendous game that last game. This should be a fun series. I'm, silently, quietly rooting for them. I'm not, and you know what? It's not that I hate the Knicks players. I think they have a fun young team.
Because you hate the Knicks fans.
I hate the Knicks fans. It's the damn fans. It's like the Cowboys fans. It's not that I hate the Cowboys. There's nothing about the Cowboys. It's the obnoxiousness of the fans.
Well, I'll fight back on that. I hate both the Cowboys and the fans. I hate both the team and.
So, I've been saying, Knicks, they've had a nice team. They've actually been competitive, and now it seems like they've turned the corner this season, with a number 2 seed. And, Jalen Brunson, I do really like Jalen Brunson. I think he's a really nice player. I think there's a lot of doubt when he was acquired to the team. I thought on Twitter, you always put these hater takes, these gas bags and say, Jalen Brunson, what has he done? Or, shit like that. But he's a nice little player, and the season's turning out well for him. So I think this is a fun series. I think the Pacers push it to 6 games, but the Knicks, I think the Knicks are it's kind of their, this is their year. They make it to an Eastern Conference final again.
So you got the Knicks in 6, and I got the Knicks in 7.
But it should be fun. Right. I'm silently rooting for the Pacers. Not that I have a, not that I want everybody to lose. Everybody in the East, I want everybody to lose, but I think the Knicks, they have a pretty good team this year. I'll be rooting for the Patriots to push it to 7.
Yeah, I think too. These are both teams that are kind of newer in this position, and really like pushing for a conference final positioning. So yeah, let's go over to the Western Conference. I guess as for the Thunder against the Pelicans, Thunder absolutely obliterated the Pelicans like we anticipated. Zion Williamson went out, which I don't even think if he was there, he would have helped. The Thunder SGA was just on an absolute roll. He's been dicing up, obviously in the MVP running for a reason. Pelicans had no chance. Now we're going against a team that is going to really be a tough matchup for them. And we'll, I don't know, I'll let you go to the Clippers Mavericks series real quick and just kind of give me your thoughts on that before we go on the matchup against the Thunder.
I mean, overall, I think the Thunder is, again, one of these young teams, but also dominant. So, I feel like they're going to be on top of the West for a while. But the biggest thing with this, also speaking of MVP quality players, is Luka Doncic, right? This matchup with Luka, saying how talented he is. But, for many years, repeating myself again.
Oh, I was going to say if you wanted to get into the Clippers Mavericks series real quick.
The Clippers. The Clippers Mavericks series. I mean, it's the Clippers. Clippers are always going to be the little brother to the Lakers. It wasn't anything surprising. Like, Clippers going to clip. I think there was a story that I pulled up that the Clippers want to actually re-sign Tyronn Lue, but I mean, the Clippers going to clip, man. I mean, this is just what they do. They always seem to get names. But they never pull it off. Maybe they'll give you a surprise at the end of the season where they're playing well. You think, oh, maybe this is the year that they're actually going to top of the West. I never ever believed in the Clippers, and I won't. There's no reason to be. I mean, I barely watch any West Coast games, and I'm definitely not going to be watching a Clippers game. I'm not going to stay up to it. They're a perennial playoff team, but they're also a perennial team that gets bounced out of the playoffs consistently, especially. Were you surprised by the Kyrie performance and really stepping up in a big way? No, Kyrie's been playing well, man. Like I said, as soon as he this halfway through the season, he went quiet, he went dark. You didn't hear a lot of outside the court stuff, and he's been playing well. Like he it's not like, and I think when JoJo was on here,
I guess as a whole, since he's joined the Mavericks.
It's not like Kyrie is washed. It's not like Kyrie is washed. Like he cannot play basketball more. He's an excellent player. He's an excellent dribbler. I think I saw some highlights of him crossing over behind the back, taking guys, pulling up threes. It's not his talent, all right? It's the extra shit. But he's been silently just playing well. It's the attitude. He's just balling right now. He's just head down, nose to the grindstone. He's just balling, and they're playing well. He's actually playing as a real number 2, like a real good 2. Even though we know he has the talent to be a number 1, he can take over games if needed, especially at the end of game moments. And they're playing well. And there's a lot of hype. Obviously, me living in Texas, a lot of hype around the Mavericks. My buddy was like, "Oh, he hasn't been this excited since Dwayne Wade." Or I'm like, "Oh, come on, dog." I mean, Luka's nice, but I mean, Dwayne Wade. I mean, he's a 2 different players, man. Physically look different. Physically look different games, but yeah.
If Luka keeps it up, he's gonna be better than Wade. I mean, I know that's. I know that might pain you to say that, but
listen, man, and imagine if he had the Riley boot camp, the 5% body fat and shit like that. If he was in Miami, that'd be crazy. But yeah, this series overall should be a fun series. Like again, this is a young team playing against potential MVP player versus another top perennial MVP player since he's been drafted. So this should be a fun series, fun to watch. I guess at the fun conference semifinals to watch for this one.
Yeah, I'll go into the Clips Mavs real quick. Yeah, this is a prime example of a series where the old guard is getting pushed out. This is these guys that just the Paul George experiment is done. This guy is just, I don't know anybody who would want him. Like, he's just not who he was. It seemed like James Harden was trying to carry that team, but then he only becomes so much to handle. I tell you what, if James Harden was on that Sixers team still, I think they might get through. I think they might have gotten through. But yeah, the Clips gonna clip. I mean, they constantly underperform. They never do what they need to do. And the Mavericks are a scrappy team. The Mavericks will always fight to the end. One thing that I've seen the past few years as Luka in the playoffs is even though they might not have the most talent around him, dude fights tooth and nail to try to win games for that team. And now having a little bit more help bringing in Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving, like you said, putting his head since he's joined this team, there was a lot of question marks of him going to Dallas. Like, is Dallas in a way, I think Dallas was kind of taking a flyer on him. Like, look, this is a guy who has clearly, for raw talent, is one of the best in the league. If you just let him cook and he just stays focused and, has a certain attitude about the way you approach the game. And since he's on the map, they've done that. I don't know what they did or just being around a certain type of locker room. I mean, when you think about, and I started to think about kind of the situations Kyrie's been in, being in Cleveland, being kind of behind LeBron, seeing all that and all that shape out and really coming into stardom, then going to Celtics, expecting to be the guy, but maybe he was never really wanted to be the guy. And then you go to Cleveland, Brooklyn, where honestly, I have a hard time seeing a KD and James Harden locker room work. It just, I can't imagine there's a lot of cohesion in that type of environment. But I think you go to a Mavericks team who are kind of really working well together. And then you have a guy who needs to get an MVP soon. Needs to. So as for the matchup for the Thunder and the Mavericks, I like the Thunder, man. They went through that grueling 82-game season and just played lights out and played really well. But they are new to this. They are new. And because of that, I think it's the Mavericks' year to really make it to a conference finals. I think they get it done. I think the way Kyrie and Luka have been playing this past two series, as well as the team as a whole, has just playing really well. And they're playing really hot. And I think they're going to make it to a conference final with the way they're playing. The Thunder, I think they're just too new. I think they're not used to this. Look, the Thunder have the capability to win this series. At the end of the day, look, you don't fluke your way into a first seed position. At the end of the day, you have to go through 82 games. And we talked about the Nuggets in our last episode about how almost everybody in their starting five played over 75 games or something like that. So they beat the Nuggets game for game. That's not an easy feat. So, but with that all being said, I'm going to go Mavericks in 6. I think the Mavericks don't lose. I think the Mavericks don't lose at home, but they steal an away game.
I actually like the series. I actually think the Thunder are a more complete team. So if I had to pick this series off of 7 games, I think Thunder are more complete. Obviously, you have a bit older players, more experienced guys, but I feel like there's only, the two majors on the Mavericks, and, they will go as far as those two will take them, right? But I think as far as a complete team, playing whole team basketball, I think the Thunder are a better team. I think the Thunder take it in 7. I think it's a 7-game series, and the Thunder's take it.
7-game series, and then I got Mavs in 6. So we're kind of on the same ballpark. The only thing is I think a Mavericks might steal one.
Yeah, I mean, game to game, that's the crazy thing. Game to game, anybody can win a game, right? I think overall, it's just who's playing more complete. In my opinion, I think the Thunder are going to come out on top.
I don't think it's a bad take. It's a tough one. It's honestly, I don't know if it's tough for you.
It could be wrong. Could be wrong. It'll be a fun game.
It's a tough one to pick. And I think this next game we're going to talk about here was it's going to be even a tougher one. But let's briefly talk about the Timberwolves Suns series. Obviously, that was an absolute sweep. I think this is the end for the Suns. I think they're about to blow it all up this offseason.
I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can.
They may not be able to, but I think they're going to try. I think the experiment is over. I mean, just to get embarrassed like the way they did. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see how this shakes out, because I have a feeling there's going to be some changes. But Timberwolves, obviously, man, Anthony Edwards absolutely balled this series. He played really well. Karl Anthony Towns, he played solid. I would like to see more from him. But as a whole, this Timberwolves team, this starting five is really good. And even coming off the bench, they're a very good team. They're going to be a team to really watch for. They might, man, they're going to push the Nuggets to the limit. I really think. I think they're going to push it to the limit. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for the Nugget. This might be the toughest series the Nuggets are going to have faced in a while. Personally, because even if you compare to last year's playoffs, this might be their. If you combine the two playoffs and what it could potentially be in the next round and even the final, this Timberwolves team might be a really tough team. Might be their toughest opponent yet.
Yeah,
what we're seeing in this current iteration.
Yeah, I would say the Timberwolves have, also a complete team, I would say as well. They're playing, Anthony Edwards is coming into his powers, but I just think the Nuggets are too dominant, man. I think there's no stopper, man. There's no Joker stopper. So, I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Think this is I think I'm not going to say a sweep, but I think the Nuggets take it in 5, maybe 6. But this is
no.
I've seen the Timberwolves win one game maybe a second one. If they're playing well.
I don't see a sweep at all. No, Nuggets. I don't think a sweep at all. I think they're going to really turn up. I mean, obviously, like I said, the two, you need Rudy Gobert to really step up and play well. Not that he played bad series, but you're also playing a broken apart Suns team. So you're going to really need him to step up, as well as Karl Anthony Towns. You need those two guys to really help Anthony Edwards out. I think obviously the big thing is the experience. That's what's going to hurt them. And look, the Nuggets, they're reigning champions. I do have the Nuggets advancing. I got the Nuggets in 6. I think the Timberwolves are a good team, though. I don't think this is going to be a sweep at all. I don't really see them beating up on the Timberwolves. I see a lot of close games here, and then the Nuggets just take one on the road, maybe on Game 6. They take one at Minnesota.
Man, I feel like it's going to be shocking. One, maybe
really?
2 games. Maybe the Wolves win.
You think it's going to be a blowout like that?
And they do have a great starting 5, but man, the Nuggets, it's their era, man. We're in the Nuggets era, dude.
Look, I got the Nuggets winning. I think they're the best team in the league, and it's not even a question. But I think the Timberwolves might be the toughest challenge, like stylistically.
Yeah. This is probably a better matchup. Way better than the Lakers series that they just got done.
Yeah.
But they're gonna.
I don't know if you want to briefly talk about that Lakers series. Like,
I mean,
they did get a game.
I mean, here's another thing. The Lakers overhype people, kind of, and this is not to disparage. I don't want Laker fans in my mentions as well. I mean, because they're obnoxious, but at least they have championships. They have dominance. They can talk about the years, and they have the best player or whatever. The best.
You can talk about the bubble.
Yeah. So as a Heat fan, I can't.
He's not the best player in the world.
I'm not going to disparage him, but just know
he's not the best player in the world. Come on, not anymore.
I mean, he's the best player I've seen in my lifetime. Okay,
but he's not the best player in the world. Not anymore. When you stop using that title,
so
you gotta give it up, dude.
Listen, man.
He just got waxed by the actual best player in the world.
Fair. But yeah, man, the Lakers series wasn't exciting. Like I kind of picked. There was no way that the Lakers were going to make out that series. They barely made it playing again. I think the news came out. I just wanted to report because I have had it in the show notes. They fired Darvin Ham, which was kind of a big thing. A lot of Lakers fans complaining about Darvin Ham after 2 years. So, and LeBron has this press conference where he's very cryptic, where he says, "Oh, do you see? Was that your last game in the Lakers?" He's like, "I'm not going to answer that." It's like, come on, guy. We know. Listen, you're a fucking mogul. You're staying in L.A. Now, there's rumors that he, comes to New York and whatever. I don't see it, man. He's going to stay in L.A. Also, in other news, I think there was another report that Bronny has been invited to the Combine, the NBA Combine. Bronny James is including 78 other prospects. He's been invited.
Before we get out, I do want to talk a little bit about the Lakers, and I want to get your thoughts on some things. Do you think they blow it up? And I know you think that they're going to keep LeBron around, but do you think that's the best for the Lakers to keep him around?
For
Not
as
that
a
he's played bad, because I don't think LeBron has played bad, but I
Yeah.
think just everything and the whole circus that follows it, and just needing to reset. Like I think the Lakers, man, they've been squeaking into playoffs since they won the bubble. In the bubble, like they've been and even before that, they were missing playoffs. So like this entire time, this like LeBron Lakers era, they've never looked like dominant outside of the 1 year. And like they did win a trophy, so you could say that's a success. But it just seems like it's time to move on. It's time to just reset. Because like, what's going to happen next year? They're going to get in by a play-in again. Like, I'm convinced they've even brought the play-in just so they can keep LeBron into the TV time for the playoffs. I think if you're the Lakers, it might be the best scenario. Maybe you keep Anthony Davis, but just like the Suns, I think it's time to restart. But it's if they will and if they can. Those are two different, and what they should. Those are
I think I think the Lakers. So the thing with the Lakers is like all these other teams, I'm trying to think of Mickey Arison, like all these other billionaires who owns these NBA teams. They made their billions doing other things, whereas the LA Lakers, like that is their business, that is their moneymaker. I think to get rid of like a LeBron, it would be financially foolish. I think he brings an economy with him wherever he goes.
Yeah. I think it's great financially, obviously.
As far as like changing the team roster, I think the biggest name I saw was like trade rumors or of acquiring like a Trae Young. And I'm like, are the Lakers really a Trae Young away from being dominant? Like, is Trae Young really? You're Trae Young away from beating Joker and the Nuggets? Probably not.
It's a system, dude. You can't just. And I think that's what they've tried to do. It's just plug and play. It's like Clippers. They're doing what the Clippers do. They're thinking they could just like take players, plug them in, and hoping like it's nowadays. That's an outdated system. Did that work 10 years ago? Yeah, it did work 10 years ago. I think nowadays you're having, like we're saying, we're seeing complete teams now. We're seeing complete teams with good rotations. Plugging in a Trae Young is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a playoff team? Sure. Are you going to beat the Nuggets? Hell no. Are you going to beat the Mavs? Probably not. Are you going to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves? Probably not. Like, it's just such an old school mentality. And I get, like you said, the financial part, but you're also the fucking Lakers. You're the biggest brand in the NBA.
Yeah.
I understand LeBron bringing the biggest name, one of the biggest names in all of sports, into one of the biggest teams in all of sports. There's a lot of money to be made, but it's like, do you really want to like? I just think you gotta move on to the new wave, the new era, and what's being done and what's successful. Because sure, having LeBron's going to bring you all this money, but I think bringing championships and getting competitive teams is what's going to bring money.
Yeah, and I think LeBron, with the
and it's
the
nothing against LeBron.
Yeah.
I think he's played well. I think it's just you need a reset.
I think with the empire that is Clutch Sports, I think there'll be some behind the scenes moves. LeBron will get whatever players he wants. Obviously, they get rid of the coach, the head coach.
Why do that, man?
I don't know.
Hasn't he been doing that for like since he got there? He's you don't give him.
I know they say he's a coach,
man.
He's a coach.
He's not a GM.
Everywhere he goes, he kills coaches except for Spoelstra. Never.
And
Spoelstra.
look, LeBron knows more ball than I've ever learned. He's probably forgotten more ball than I've ever learned.
You listen to his podcast with JJ Redick?
No, I did not. But he's not a GM, dude. Like, he's not a player. He's not a scout. He only sees how much he can see. At the end of the day, he's a professional athlete. He has to focus on his profession. A lot of times, it's not like he's a guy that's out there every single day scouting players, finding people. And I think, like you said, like, bringing in Trae Young or bringing in like KD, like, is that really going to help? I don't know. But I'm curious to see what they do. They're probably going to do
we'll
nothing.
See, man. We're gonna have a summer full of Lakers stuff. We're gonna have a summer.
Run it right back. They're probably gonna run it right back.
I'm sure if you turn on TV right now, ESPN's talking about LeBron, even though he's been eliminated from the playoffs. Somehow he'll still make the topic. Like, we'll still be talking about him throughout the summer,
just like how
into
they
next year.
Talked about Draymond Green consistently.
Yeah,
bro. I've never seen like this is a little throwback, but like towards earlier this year. But it's like when that Draymond Green suspension, I'm like, bro, this man has been suspended for like indefinitely, like 2 weeks ago. Why on like? I don't even watch ESPN, but it's on at the gym, and I happen to go like 3:00 in the weekdays. And he's on and I guess that's when the NBA Live show or whatever the name of that show is on ESPN is on. And I shit you not, dude, every single day, it was like for a week straight, they're talking about this man. I'm like, what is there to talk about? The Warriors are non-existent in the whole scheme of things, and he's not even playing. And this is like 2 weeks ago. Like,
I think I saw someone on Twitter today. He was breaking down Patrick Beverley. I don't know. I think I told you a little bit earlier. Patrick Beverley and a little bit of hot water. And there was a clip of Draymond Green breaking down a Patrick Beverley clip. So then somebody quote tweeted. Somebody quote tweeted said this is like Bin Laden reviewing an ISIS tape or something. Like this is like this guy talking about other people's getting fines and penalties and shit is just one of the most hilarious things to ever.
Well, the funny thing too is because like I was telling, we're talking about the whole Bleacher Report thing and the app. I think his show is it's a Bleacher
it might be
It's a show on Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
So I get recommended his stuff all the time, and I'm like, I'm be honest with you, dude. I don't really care to hear what Draymond Green has to say, but like there is certain things where the app does kind of obviously they're going to push their own like content and streams and stuff. So I just happen to see his him live like all the time. I don't watch it, but
I think it's funny though.
And he has like a poll, but it is hilarious. This man was like suspended.
Yeah, I like him kicking somebody in the nuts, getting fined and suspended 5 games, and then him coming on his podcast talk about how he kicked somebody in the nuts and like why he did it and how he's OJ. A changed man. It's like weird. Like it's like it doesn't drive me. It makes me laugh. It doesn't drive me like I'm gonna like now listen to Draymond Green. It's just funny that it happens. Like let me explain to you exactly why I punched this guy in the nuts. It's like
he pulled a NBA OJ Simpson.
Oh my god! Hello, Twitter world.
He's gonna write a book about why
I did it.
I didn't. I didn't mean to do it. But if I did mean to do it, this is how.
But yeah, like I said, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Lakers and LeBron. Like it's never ending story with them. But as far as a series, not that. Overall, Lakers didn't excite me. Didn't push the needle.
Anticipated.
For me. Yeah, didn't push the needle for me. So, Nuggets all the way. Nuggets to the finals. That's
all right. Well, so just a little NFL. You
wanted to bring some news. So let's talk NFL.
Your Dolphins made a huge, absolute massive Super Bowl contending changing move by bringing on Gabe's favorite player. He's been talking about this guy since he got drafted.
Wow. My dreams come true.
And then OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Dolphins. Everybody in Miami's hype. Jalen Ramsey, he's like, let's get the crew back together. We're all in South Beach. We're all having a good time. We've gone from LA to Miami.
Oh, they played at the same time. That's right. He did get hurt in that Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. He got hurt in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's to the Dolphins. So I'll let you kick it off with your thoughts on all this.
My first thought was I didn't hear anything about this. It was obviously more interesting to Julian than I. But overall, it's just a 1-year deal. I think he played last year 1-year deal with the Ravens. Where was he? Yeah, with the Ravens. Obviously, him coming off the injury from LA in the Super Bowl. Just a 1-year deal with the Ravens. I'm fine with it as long as he can run. Like I don't have a lot of OBJ tape right now that I can watch and review. I think he should be fine as long as it's a 1-year deal. That's fine. It's not locking up for a long time. It's kind of a flyer. We've done that before. I think we had a flyer on Chase Claypool, which I think they announced signed with the Bills. Kind of a flyer. But Chase Claypool was weird because we signed him, then we put him on the practice squad, then we released him, and then we re-released him, and then literally 4 days later we signed him back to the team. What a weird.
I know it's a little off topic, but that Claypool's like career trajectory just like went all over the place after that Steelers trade to the Bears, because he was like the next thing for the Steelers, and then they trade him to the Bears to help Justin Fields, and just fizzled out because that offense was terrible. Then went to Miami, and I thought he was going to thrive in Miami, but
yeah, I thought he was going to do well, but he did kind of disappear.
Like he doesn't fit the system when you think about it. I guess what McDaniels was going for.
They want speed. They want guys who run a 4-2.
And Claypool's that guy who's a deep threat one-on-one guy. He's a great route runner and a jump ball one-on-one guy, and he's going to go up to this. That just doesn't really fit. But yeah.
Overall, I'm not mad at it. I'm upset with it. We'll see what he can do. I think OBJ overall, has been all right. Not that he's been exciting. Like, I think that was probably his comeback was that year that he signed that 1 year deal, because he left with the Giants. He signed that. Or did we moved like halfway through the season, I think, when he...
No, he played with the Browns. So his last 1,000-yard season was his first season with the Browns in 2019. And then he got hurt in 2021, only had 200 yards.
I think I remember it, because I think, Jarvis Landry got injured halfway through that season, and OBJ was the number one, because Jarvis Landry was like the number one guy, and then
they're supposed to be a duo. They were coming together from LSU because they were at LSU at the same time. Okay, so it's kind of bringing that duo together. That LSU wide receiver, man, they just produce wide receivers. Yeah, man. It's insane. Justin Jefferson, God, man, they just produce so many wide receivers. He went to the Browns. So Browns, he had 200 yards in 2021, and then that year he got traded to the Rams.
Yeah, that's when they went all in.
300. Yeah, and then he had 300 yards with the Rams. So he had about 500 yards total. Obviously, tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. Missed the entirety of the 2022 season. Gets picked up by the Ravens. And this past year at the Ravens, he had 35 receptions, 565 yards with an average of 16 yards per catch, which was, funny enough, his best yards per catch in his entire career. Yeah. Which is wild. Even throughout all his prime years of getting 1,000+ yard seasons consecutive, like 8 years how many years? 6 years. But yet last year was his biggest yards per catch average. It's pretty wild.
Lamar will do it to you. But yeah, how do you feel about OBJ? Like, do you feel like this is like a great addition? Do you think this is gonna push us over the Jets and the Bills? I don't know how you feel about OBJ.
I think you guys are. We're probably going to do some division predictions going into the season stuff. But I think that this is the Dolphins' division to take. The Bills are kind of decimated right now. Losing Stephon Diggs, losing Gabe Davis, that wide receiver room is barren right now. Obviously, post draft, they have made some changes. I think the Bills are going to take a drop off. Personally, I think this is your guys' division to take. I think this just amps up that offense even more. Odell didn't have a bad season with the Ravens. Like, this is a guy who's now older. This is what is going to be his 11th season. He's older now. He suffered a major injury, and he played pretty well for the Ravens team. He was pretty integral. He wasn't like what he used to be, but he was an integral part. Look, he provided 500 yards in receiving for the Ravens. That's a solid number 3. Like, you want a number 3 receiver to do that, and I think he's going to bring that same production to Miami. I'm a little curious to see how well he fits into the system, because he is more of a deep ball threat, and Tua is not best in those kind of situations. So I'm curious to see how McDaniels kind of fits him into this whole offensive scheme and goes around. But I don't think it's a bad pickup. Like, he's shown that he can still be productive, not to the level that he was, but you're not bringing him in to be that same production. You already have Tyreek Hill. You already have Jalen Waddle. You're just adding a third weapon to that to really amplify that offense. And just, look, it's the NFL. Injuries happen. I think Odell can be a great slot in number 2 if need be, due to whatever might happen throughout the season. I think if you're going to be look, the one thing we always say is, like, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to have depth. You got to have depth, and you got to stay healthy, because you get that in check, That's how you win titles. And the Dolphins are kind of doing that. Now, do they need to do more defensively? That's a whole other story. But I don't think it's a bad pickup. And I'm sure how much was his signing for? Had to be dirt cheap.
OBJ. Let me look it up real quick. I didn't see the money figures.
$3 million.
1 year, $3 million. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's nothing.
A veteran player. Yeah,
that's nothing. So
up to 8.25.
And apparently, he just decided to split from Kim Kardashian. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
I didn't even know they were dating, but that's on the news, Google news feed.
Sad day. Sad day.
Sad day. But yeah, man. So another wide receiver that you put on the docket here, Kadarius Toney. The Kansas City Chiefs have declined his 5th-year option. No surprise to any. That guy has been a major bust, not only for the Giants, but also for the Chiefs. Yeah, he's been a huge bust. He's provided nothing. I'm not shocked. I think there's moments. He's one of those guys who shows moments of like good playmaking ability, but he was never consistent. He had injuries. And even when he was playing, it was, like I said, it was just moments of good play. There was he wasn't a difference maker that Kansas City thought he was going to be. I know there was a lot of hype thinking he could potentially be the next Tyreek Hill for Kansas City, that he was withering away in New York because he had Daniel Jones throwing to him. But I'm not surprised. I think they're giving him another shot because Kansas City doesn't really have anybody else to go after. They don't really have any other options. But obviously, you don't want to pay him his 5th-year option and give him, what, $15 million? That guy's not worth $15 million a year, no matter if it's a 1-year deal or not. So, yeah, not terribly surprising news. I remember, thank God Jacksonville didn't get him. I know Urban Meyer at the time, when he was our coach, he said he openly said he wanted to get Kadarius Toney, but he got off the board, so they got Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Thank God that happened, because Travis Etienne is an absolute baller. I love Travis Etienne, one of the best running backs in the game, and he's a dual threat. Thank God Urban Meyer didn't get his way and got his second option, because that would have been a waste of a pick. He was just trying to pick up a Gator and get a Percy Harvin 2.0, but he didn't, and thank God. Thank God that worked out.
And this comes on the heels also Kansas City. I think there was a report a couple of days ago. Kelce signing 2-year, $30 million for the 34-year-old. So probably seeing some changes coming up, at the end of this year. Although Kelce stayed, they extended him. Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, do you think he's going to maintain this level the next 2 years? I think he can, but then after that, it's a drop off. I think maybe one more year, actually.
As far as like tight ends, like I still think he's top 10, top 5 tight end still in the league. I think he's still great, physical, big. He had some big spots in the playoffs where he took over games at the end of games, like third quarter, second halves of games. I think he'll be fine as long as he's able to stay physically healthy. I see no problem with extending Travis Kelce, because he's definitely going to be, one of the main weapons going forward if they can acquire some young talent. Like they're one of their main receivers. So, 2
years is a good length.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done more than 2.
Yeah,
at 34, at the end of that, he's going to be 36 as a tight end. That's a physical ass position. Honestly, the fact that he is even playing right now at this age is pretty remarkable for that position. I mean, you saw Gronk get absolutely beat up. I mean, granted, Gronk was a massive human being, so people wanted to hit him a little harder, and naturally the way he played. But to be at that age playing tight end is honestly very impressive. But all right, man, let's talk a little NHL. I know this is your forte. This is what you do. So for all the new viewers and all the new fans out there, this is Gabe's sport. He's going to break down each game and how he feels and who's a bum, who's not.
Yes, after dreaming about OBJ, I dream about NHL hockey. Yeah, man, this is exciting, man. You know what? As far as like playoff series, like, the NHL season, regular season is kind of a drag to get through. But actually, NHL hockey is actually pretty exciting from period to period. Like, it's fucking like wire, teeth. Me, I can't get out to sea, can't fucking, I'm clenching my teeth. Playoff hockey is exciting. Yeah, playoff hockey is exciting because it's, the turnover is what happens is in other sports, right? It's not like baseball where we have an inning and you have an inning and you have to wait for the other team to score. It's like, you fuck up on defense over here, that shit can turn into offense on the other side, and the speed of the game is quick. So playoff hockey is exciting. Like I say, one of the most exciting playoffs to watch.
Yeah. So right now there's two game sevens left. So I'm going to kind of go quickly through this. The Panthers obviously absolutely obliterated Tampa Bay Lightning like we predicted. I'm surprised they even let them get one at home. I was hoping for the sweep. I wanted the sweep because, just for payback because they swept us. So I wanted the sweep, but I'll take it in 5 regardless. They're done. They're washed. It's over. Tampa Bay's reign is gone. There's a new cat in town. It's the Florida fucking It's the Florida fucking Panthers. All right. And then obviously the winner of that is now Boston-Toronto. Now this series has been absolutely epic to watch. It's been awesome back and forth. The comeback for Toronto, being down 3-1, has been awesome. But with that being said, I like Boston advancing here. I think Boston's going to get it done. Home ice. Look, man, this rivalry goes back 100 years. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I forgot what the stat was, but since the history, so Boston and Toronto have gone up against each other. I don't know, man, maybe like 30 times, a lot. I don't know the number. I can't remember the number, but they've gone up each other a lot throughout the past like 70 years. Toronto has only beat Boston, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm relying on you guys in the comments. 2 times.
I'm looking at
Boston. Boston has obliterated them.
I'm looking at the all-time series. So all-time series Boston versus the Toronto Maple Leafs is 353, 312, 99. But in the postseason, the results have been 45, 43, and 1. So Boston obviously being up above them. So,
but it doesn't say series wins though.
Series wins. Let me check. I have to look at the series wins, but just it's been 45 and 43 Boston. So
yeah, I think the game records isn't bad, but it's the series where Boston has almost always, it's Toronto Maple Leafs' worst nightmare. Yeah. I have a friend who's a big Maple Leafs fan, and he fucking hates Boston because they always get over him. And then the funniest thing too. And like you said, I remember you saying, I think a couple of years ago, you said the Maple Leafs are the Knicks of the NHL.
Yes.
And they are.
They talk a lot of shit for not winning a lot. For not winning a lot, they talk mad shit.
And the crazy thing is they care so much.
I will give them that. I will say that's a true statement you just said.
No, but the funniest thing, they care so much. Like if some player fucks up or the goalie fucks up, and somebody sees them like in public, they're fucking cursing them out. Like, what the fuck, you fucking bum! Like, what's wrong with you?
You bum, Brody.
Meanwhile, like, and this will be like a regular season, mid-season game, not super important. And then meanwhile, you have like a team like Florida, where like fucking 5% of the metro population actually watches in South Florida, and a goalie can walk in who had an absolute shit game. No one even know he exists. It's just like
I will give them that. They are a passionate fan base. So I will give them that.
Probably the most passionate. And that's what they're up there. I mean, all the Canadian teams they have really, really it's their sport, you know what I mean? We're just playing it. But it's always so funny to me how bad they can be. And like they're so passionate about it, and it's such a big city. But I think Boston's going to get over. But no matter what, Florida's going to smoke them. Florida is on a roll. They're on a mission. They're going to absolutely. I got Florida easily Eastern Conference Finals. Now, how that shakes up to the series down below, which I'm talking about now, is the Rangers Carolina. This is going to be a matchup to watch. These are two. I mean, the East is stacked. So, like I said, going into this, there's 3 contenders. There's Florida, New York, and Carolina. New York and Carolina is the matchup we want. This is what we're going to see. Islanders snuck an easy win because Carolina just got a little head too much, but this is going to be a good one. And that's what I'm really excited to see. So I got New York coming out of this, but it's going to 7. It's going to 7, 100%. And honestly, Carolina, this is literally up in the air. This is going to be an absolute coin toss because I'm going New York strictly because of their rotation. I think they're a little deeper, and I like what they do, and they remain focused, and they played well at the end of games because even though the Caps got swept, the Caps looked solid, and they competed, and New York just didn't let them catch up on them. They maintained their lead, and that's what they did. So I got New York. So I'm seeing a New York, Florida fucking Eastern Conference final here. I know if that does happen, the amount of New York fans that are going to come out to those Panthers games are going to irk me on the inside. You know what they need to do? They need to, like, when you purchase tickets, they just need to put, like,
my zip code, billing code.
Billing code, or like your license plate number.
Yeah.
At your state, because these New Yorkers down here in South Florida never like to change out their damn license plates. I'll see New York license plates everywhere. So, like, gotta put your license plate number. No. Oh, you got 2 plates on? Nope. No, Florida, we only got
front and a back? Oh no, you out of here.
Front and a, what's wrong with you, psychopath? No one needs to see you front. But yeah, then on the other side of the bracket, we have the other game 7, which is honestly, man, look, Dallas is the top contender in the West for me. They've been the best team in the league by far. Not by far, but they've been the best team in the league, especially in the Western Conference. And then Vegas gave them a run for their money. They were up 3-1 in the series. Dallas has now made a comeback. I like Dallas advancing here. They're just the better team. Look, man, I fucking hate Vegas. Nothing against the fans, nothing against the team. I just hate how early they won.
Yeah, they won right away.
Fucking fair. They won right away. They have 2 trophies in, like, what, 4 years? Like 5 years? Like, no, fuck you guys. No, I don't like that. No, get out of here.
That's how you build an obnoxious fan base, is by ruining the championship right away. You get the draft, the expansion draft, and go to the championship the first year.
Yeah, except if your name's the Seattle Kraken, then probably not. But
damn. But yeah, I would say the same thing. The only thing is Dallas has been struggling with Vegas. Dallas has been the top favorite. Yeah. They're supposed to go right through. They shouldn't have been a 7-game series, but here we are. I think they play soon. If not today, they play soon. But yeah, I already told my buddy, I was like, yo, I hit up my buddy who lives in Dallas. I'm like, yo, if this is Dallas Panthers, I'm coming to Dallas, and I have some rats that I need to throw in the ice. Yeah, they play tomorrow. I think the Maple Leafs, the Bruins game is tonight. Bruins Maple Leafs is tonight, and then
yes,
yeah.
Yep, so I'm definitely watching that.
So yeah, man, I'm just selfishly, I'm hoping Dallas can go through so we can see a Dallas Panthers final.
Just so you can see the Panthers.
Yeah, just so I can go. I haven't been to a hockey game since I left South Florida, so I'm waiting to go.
Then they'll go on and play the Avalanche, which that's going to be a really good series. That's another one where it's kind of like in New York and Carolina. It can really go either way. Colorado, the past a couple of years, obviously they've been one of the best teams in the league for the past, like, 3 to 4 years. They've been extremely well, so that's going to be a really interesting matchup. I'm not even going to leave a prediction on that because I really don't know. If I'm a betting man, based on the way that Dallas has played against Vegas and not getting done what they should have done, I have Colorado. Colorado just seems more cohesive as a unit, and the way that they're playing, especially in these playoff games. Like, look, they're getting the job done, and because of that, I think they're going to take down Dallas. As for Vancouver, Edmonton, look, I'm gonna lie to you if I know anything about this matchup. I don't. This is the one side of the bracket where I really don't know much. I don't really follow the Kings or the Edmonton or Vancouver or Nashville. So look, I'm just gonna be watching as a fan, see how they play.
Yeah.
Both teams beat up on the teams that they're supposed to. Like I knew Vancouver was going to beat up on Nashville, and everybody had envy. LA Kings they're not very good. They kind of sneaked into the playoffs. They're not sneaked into the playoffs, but they're not a very good team. I liked Edmonton coming out of that, but as for this matchup against the Canadian Classic, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no dog in the fight here. Probably Edmonton Oilers are probably a more prestigious franchise overall, but I'm gonna root for Vancouver because I just went to Vancouver a few years ago, and I went to the actual stadium, the Whitecaps. I went on to Vancouver, so I'm rooting for Vancouver just because I haven't been watching this series.
Well, the Whitecaps is the soccer team, dude.
That's sorry. See, there you go. Bam. See, that's how you know. That's how you know I went to the stadium, because it was right across the street. Went to the wrong one. Damn.
Yeah, well, I think that one's the stadium, and they're playing the arena.
Yeah,
the Canucks playing the arena. But from what I understand, like, the Canucks just have a very rough, like, history. Like, they're usually just not very good. Versus, like you said, Edmonton's they're always out there competing. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know enough to really talk about that series, but look, take what we say with the NHL playoffs with a grain of salt. This isn't really our super forte.
This is a Panthers podcast right here.
I will say, like, the only team I really watch, I will say I've watched a decent amount of NHL playoffs this go around, more so than previous years. So, and it's actually been pretty exciting, and I've been watching it, especially because I have a dog in the fight in the Panthers. So I could talk about the Panthers all day, but as for the other matchups, I can only see what I can catch. So, like I said, take what we say with a grain of salt. Except I have the best Panthers take. So,
as far as, like, you know, I have nothing else to root for as far as NBA. You know, my Miami Heat, they went down, won one game valiantly, but obviously got knocked out. So this is all I'm rooting for, man. I just want the Panthers to go deep. I want them to make an impressive run.
Heat
because
suck. Marlins suck.
Oh yeah, I'll have to. It's either this or I wait for football, and I don't want to wait for football.
Miami's good. And Miami's top of the table.
Speaking of which, I saw you posted last week for Real Fans FC, which is our other brother podcast. Julian, anything else to look forward to? Have you recorded that yet, or what are you looking forward to in FC news?
Oh man, there's so much to cover. It's honestly been a wild end of the season. We're gonna do our Champions League semifinal reactions. We're going to try to do it sooner, but so for all the people out there that watch the FC show as well, we apologize. Things came up last minute and we weren't able to record that second episode this week, but we're going to be back on it either tomorrow or Monday to go over our reactions of leg 1, and then obviously we'll watch leg 2 next week and see how that goes. But you know, once these tournaments are over, we're really going to be amping up on Copa America. We are all super pumped for that. Look, man, our national team coverage always does really well on the channel. We did the CONCACAF Nations League. We talked about USA national team, Mexico, Jamaica, Panama, Costa Rica, so on and so forth. And those do well. And then this past week, we just did CONCACAF World Cup qualifying for the teams that aren't going to be automatic bid in, which is basically subtract Canada, Mexico, and USA because we're hosting. So we have to go through qualifications. But so we kind of went over that, and those are doing well, man. People love talking national team. Those always seem to be our best videos. And so we're expecting to go really hard into Copa America, trying to live stream as much as we can for post-match games. Gabe, if you're watching to Copa America, if you want to hop in on the live streams, you can, man.
Yeah.
And just shoot the shit. We're hoping to have a good time, get a lot of commenters and stuff with all the new subs. We're closing in on 200. We're super close. We're at 187. So yeah, man, I'm pumped for all what's to come in regards to that, because I think this summer is going to be wild. I think we're going to have a really, really good summer between all the live streams and previews and stuff. So we're going to do like in-depth previews for each group of that. So
yeah,
leading into it, as well as some Euro talk, but mostly focusing on Copa America because that's more so our audience. But yeah, man, it's super fun. I hope you can get into it, Gabe. If there's any summer to start, if there's any time to start, it's now. Follow Team USA. They're going to have a solid team. And yeah, man, Copa America is gonna be super fun. You might go to a game, dude. I know they're hosting in Dallas.
We shall see.
And
but
Houston.
we appreciate y'all for checking us out this week. We'll be back next week. More NHL, more NBA, hopefully some MLB if Jojo can jump on here. But if not, you just want to check out the soccer stuff, Real Fans FC, he's gonna be posting that soon. But thank y'all for checking us out. Real Fans Podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts, we thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace out, everybody.